Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek number 123, Cleveland. So named because I'm out of ideas for namings, and I'm going to Cleveland this weekend. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. Yep, yep.
we, Adrian, from now on, I just want to put a rule. Charles has to answer that last.
Okay.
I mean, none of us just can equal. All of us together cannot equal that excitement. So, you always want to end on a high note, and Charles is always
Dude.
a high note. I mean, it could have been due to it could have been due to the castration. I don't know, but there's always a high note there.
Oh my God. I'm not no castration. It's just you know what it is. I can blame hi mom and dad if you're watching. I know they're not, but it's because of them. I played too much Street Fighter back in the day.
Okay.
And that yep yep comes from Chung Li when she wins. And when she does the spin round kick. So, I just have these thoughts that just come through my head. So yep, yep, kind of stuck with me.
I like it. Very nice.
So yeah,
Okay.
so how's everybody else's week? Jack, Israel, talk to me.
You go, Jack.
Well, I mean, I'm doing great. I'm doing the same as always. Lovely.
Mm.
Finally have a problem that need to take care of.
You, Israel?
And
What's up?
I am also doing well. Yes. Hello, Dark Owl. Yeah, we did hurry up, so we're on. And Repents, hey. And Shifty, hey.
Shifty.
I'm not going to hit B-Sides Cleveland, but I do know some people who are, so that should definitely be good. And week-wise, I've had a really good week.
Oof, I like that.
Yeah, I usually have a decent week, but this has been a really good week. Went to 614 Con, last Thursday and Friday, which is a awesome con, and they're actually rebranding over to Hackers Helping Hackers, or Hackers Teaching Hackers. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know one of the guys who started it, and from what I understand, two guys started it, and they kind of had different visions going forward. So kind of the traditional 614 con that's been going on for the last 4 or 5 years is being rebranded, and then the other kind of founder is going off with 614 con to do whatever he wants to do with it. But got to do one of my buddies, TJ, and shout out TJ, you're awesome. Had an idea of doing a mentoring, like a speed mentoring session. So it's like speed dating but mentoring. And so had a group of mentors, and mentees, and get 8 minutes, and then after 8 minutes, the mentee moves on to the next mentor. So it's just like speed dating. And I tell you what, that was awesome, because there are things that I've been doing this stuff for 20 years that I don't even think about. But then when somebody starts asking me about something, it's like, oh yeah, I never thought of somebody not knowing something like this. So I thought that was just awesome. Did it for like an hour, but it seemed like it was like 15 minutes. So hopefully that is able, that concept and is able to gain some traction at some other conferences and things like that, especially maybe like the B-sides and stuff that's more local and brings more like local attention. But that was awesome. Really got to talk to some really cool people, and help them out with, just their current situation. And everybody's different. So, yeah, definitely very awesome concept. Kind of got me hyped up a little bit because it was sweet. So, Darren, how are you?
Had a pretty freaking busy week, so I've been kind of running around. This is but the first day it's gotten at least somewhat normal.
That's because it's Wednesday.
No, that's not why at all.
And Charles said it incorrectly. It's actually Wonderful Wednesday, according to his twin brother, Charles.
Yeah. It is Wonderful Wednesday. I apologize. Sorry, guys. It is Wonderful Wednesday.
Sorry, I missed last week. I was setting up for Show Me Con. It's kind of hectic on Wednesday night.
And Adrienne was showing. Woo!
Oh, I showed it all.
Last Wednesday, yeah, we had an impromptu meetup, and I had to get off at 8:30, and I didn't even go to bed till about 3 a.m. that morning because I was working. So, yeah, it's like Wednesdays aren't exactly great for me. So,
Yeah. So how'd that
Beautiful.
end up? Did you get the stuff fixed?
no.
Hey, you get an A for effort.
We'll fix it in prod.
Yeah.
No, this was prod.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what to do on the next fire drill.
And the problem was not ours. We were doing just fine. So the problem, not our team.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's good, right?
Well, no, we're still gonna get shit for it, but because we always get shit for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is a good thing to wrap around briefly. As much as it is not your issue, validate that it's not your issue, whether you are security, systems, network, whoever. Because once you start playing the blame game, and you haven't shown that it's not your issue, you are not going to have any friends very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just gonna meet you in the parking lot in private.
Yeah,
and they're gonna take care of it.
I mean,
hey, let them.
Yeah,
I'll enjoy that.
If you're one of those people that always consistently says nope, not me, and then you don't validate that, and it ends up being you, have fun.
I'm just gonna say this.
I'm for teamwork.
If you're that guy or gal out there that does that, stop it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know. I just always have my unofficial, contacts on everything. So
I mean, Jack, we know you're always right, though. So
no, I'm not.
We're not talking to you.
No, I've never been always right, but it always helps to have that other person that hey, help me with this because this is what's going on.
I mean, there is that one time a year, that you are wrong, and we all kind of look forward to that day just because it's so rare that we all throw a party that one day a year that you are wrong.
At band camp?
You mean like right now this pile of parts that I'm looking at?
Yeah, that one too. Hey, so you already hit your day this year, so tonight's the party night. Very nice. So, Adrienne, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm okay, just hanging out here in a hotel room.
Yeah? Did you get some, I heard you were getting some hot chicken?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
Yeah?
I should have ordered a little hotter. You never know with some of those places. And even the one in Louisville is a little bit hotter than the one I'm in Bloomington right now. And Bloomington's not, it was good, but they don't spice it up quite as much.
Okay, so I'm gonna use an IRC term real quick. Please don't flame me for this, but I've never had hot chicken before.
Oh man, you're missing out, man.
What is that?
Same.
Now? Where's that originally from? Is that from Louisville or is that from?
It's from Nashville.
It's from Nashville. Okay,
the Prince family made, but now other people make hot chicken as well.
So Louisville makes some good hot chicken.
The Louis makes some. Yeah, Joella's was really good. There's another place.
I don't know. It depends on which Joella's you go to.
Oh, which one do you like?
Well, because I went to the one that's out on Lexington, Lexington Road, Frank Avenue area, and that one was not to be desired. That was the only one I went to.
Okay.
Yeah, well, when I come to DerbyCon, you guys got to show me a good hot chicken spot.
All right.
Now,
that means you have to leave downtown.
Yeah, I do have.
Okay.
I do have to ask, what is the difference between like hot wings and hot chicken?
Hot wings uses something like Frank's red hot sauce. And you don't have a whole lot of breading necessarily by comparison.
Yeah.
But hot chicken, they soak it all. It's basically fried chicken soaked in a hot brine overnight, my understanding. It's more like a traditional fried chicken, but spicier.
Somebody's asking, doesn't B-dubs qualify as hot chicken?
I don't
No.
think so. No.
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 It,
No.
Well, quick question. So they marinate it? Is that they soak it and then bread it and fry it, or do they like fry it and then put sauce on it?
I'd have to look it up on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Do they still put sauce on it?
They soak it. There's not really sauce. It's more or less like it's breaded up and then fried up.
But
Okay.
the, like
and then
cayenne
depending on and then
and the peppers are added to the breading.
yes.
Oh, okay.
I was
Yeah,
thinking like Cane's is a chain down here, Raising Cane's, where they basically marinate their chicken tenders before they fry them. They like marinate them in like a
Yeah,
buttermilk
but they don't have any
solution.
spice though.
Not really, no, but it's chicken tenders. You don't
Yeah.
need to be spicy.
I mean, they are tasty. Just they also put MSG and other stuff. I do like them. They are tasty though. Yes, it would be like a brine. Yeah, the cane sauce is freaking awesome.
Eh.
No, I gotta
Oh.
say this, and I'm laughing. I was just laughing earlier. So we went to it was like a security like briefing, security training briefing or whatnot. So
Yeah.
they were talking about like espionage and how they had one guy end up in prison. He got caught up about for like selling secrets overseas or whatnot. But what got him caught up was a honey trap. They had this beautiful young lady from overseas that yeah.
Oh, I know what training. I know what training you took.
Yeah. I don't want to say it live, but yeah. So it was that training, right? So I was just laughing because it was just like the instructor was like, "Yeah, fellas, if you're 52 years old and a 20-something from overseas, and if you're cleared, if you have a clearance and you're 59 and a 20-something wants to get with you, that's usually a honey trap. Don't fall for it." And the way you said it,
no.
he said,
If you can,
he said,
Unless
he
your
said-
net worth is over $5 million.
Yeah, but he said the young lady made sure she got all of the secrets from him before the explosion, and everybody just started laughing. And that's how I just started laughing. I just thought about that. So yeah, right before the explosion, she got all the secrets out of him, and everybody just started clapping and laughing and said, "Yeah, I bet." Yeah, and he was just making jokes of it. He said, "So extraction is a real thing. Let's move on." I was like, "Oh my gosh." So that's what made me laugh.
yeah.
That guy was so funny.
and if you normally can only get 5s and 6s, and then all of a sudden a 8.5 and a 9 is giving you all the attention in the world, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, yes and no. If you have a clearance, like you're just screwed either way. Whenever it comes to overseas types of dating, but overseas, a lot of different countries find people that resemble me, or somebody of the same ethnicity, whatnot, to be very attractive, which I didn't know prior to meeting my wife. But yeah, like especially in the Philippines, like they find white guys very attractive. And I mean, not all white guys, obviously, because there's still a 1 to 10. But yeah, where here in the U.S. I may not be more than a 5 or something. Overseas in different cultures, I'm higher, which I didn't know until I married my wife. But yeah, definitely interesting.
I guess bald black men is a delicacy over certain places too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just be prepared for the male population to be pissed off at you.
Oh, okay. So I got to do something to run for my life. Okay, great.
Yes. run for your life, and then run for the hills. Yes.
Yeah. Only one key word: don't die.
Bro. Don't forget the bro. That's very important.
So we're going to hit up this breach report.
That's what I was about to say, because that certainly was a breach right there.
Yeah, it was.
with no extraction.
Zero extraction.
Yup.
Okay. I only have one on here for actual breaches this week. I'm sure there was more, but this one definitely caught my eye. So, aircraft component maker ASCO was hit by ransomware. They have about 1,400 to 1,400 employees, and 1,000 of them were sent home. So that's you know, the vast majority of systems were compromised and hit. They aren't saying yet whether they are paying the ransom or not. And two, depend upon who it is. Like, I lived through NoPayda, which was disguised as ransomware, but was actually very destructive, and there was no chance that ransom could ever be paid or anything on it. So I'm still very skittish anytime it comes to ransomware. Like, yeah, but a lot of the ransomware, like Grand Crab, they made a boatload of money. They're getting out, or they got out. They're claiming. But a lot of these guys are in it for the money, and if you pay the ransom, are actually releasing the keys. It's not. This isn't specifically in the article. FBI. Everybody still says do not pay the ransom, and I'm still of the opinion do not pay the ransom. But a lot of them, it's so commercialized that they actually do follow up once you do pay the ransom, and companies have to take it from a perspective of how much am I losing versus what is the ransom. At my former company, I think per day we just in lost production and sales, like every day was probably close to 1.5 million to $2 million, for every day that production was down. So if you end up with a 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, there's a lot of people who will pay that. So still not advocating for it, but they are down, and they have not yet set a timeline of when their systems will be back up. And that's the breach report. Yeah. Okay, let's hit some vulnerable stuff, because I want to get down to Charles. You staying on the whole night, or you're gonna have to jump at some point?
Jump later, but no, go ahead. Go ahead as scheduled.
Cool. Yeah, because I definitely want to make sure while you're on, we hit a couple of the fun things. Yeah. So, Samsung TVs, better scan that stuff. Samsung issued an advisory to make sure that you are scanning if you have their Smart Q LED TVs. Make sure that and they are internet connected, make sure you are scanning them. And if they are not internet connected, but still part of your home network for whatever reason you would do that, I would still scan it. But they have actually been targeted by attackers for a little while now. And this is something I didn't know. Samsung actually has kind of like an antivirus type of thing built into their QLED smart TVs, and a malware type of scanner. So if you aren't aware of it, which I wasn't, and probably 99% of, and granted, I don't own one, just from the security side, knowing stuff, I didn't know they did that. But if you do own one, make sure you are scanning it, because there are malware families that are specifically targeting those televisions.
Huh.
Yeah, and using them for botnets and all
kinds of funny stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. I mean, because we don't hit that too often or say anything about too often, but if anybody doesn't know, we talk about IoT a lot of the time, Internet of Things, and make sure you're remembering what that is. That's anything outside of your standard networking gear, and kind of more traditional operating systems. So if you have a smart refrigerator, a smart television,
Light bulbs.
light bulbs, yeah, like the Hugh
Coffee pots?
Phillips or whatever. Yeah, if you have a freaking coffee pot, I've seen a grill
Oh.
that was a smart grill.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Weber does that a lot, but also your DVR too.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, your
Oh, yeah.
DVR, all these things you don't always have access to, to the centralized programming and administration of it. If you have devices like that, like within my own environment here at home, I have, an IoT network where it doesn't touch anything internally. And I have the IoT devices segregated so they can't move laterally either. But if you do have those things, yeah, that was right. Just make sure you are segregating them somehow, you know. Um, Even if it's physical, you have a physical connection that goes to a completely separate Wi-Fi, whatever it is. Make sure you're segmenting those things off. What do we have next? Oh, so yeah, some more IoT types of stuff. TP-Link Wi-Fi extenders.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there is I don't know if it's current. I know there was a bug in TP-Link Wi-Fi extenders that could give drive-by hackers full control over the devices. So Wi-Fi extenders, I just got one for my environment a week ago or less because I had poor connectivity up towards the front of the house. And so I run Ubiquity, and so I bought a Ubiquity access point that could also act as an extender. And literally, I plug it in, I pull it into Unify, and I unplug it, take it up to the front of the house, plug it back in, and it's up. I mean, literally 10 minutes. So they're very, very nice if you are not like crushing your network. Whenever you're doing streaming services, that's usually going to be what, maybe uh, 10, 12 meg, per streaming service. And the devices are going to daisy chain off. So if you have a single access point, directly wired into your switch or router, that'll usually be gigabit. And then the extenders will create kind of like a wireless mesh and work through that. And they will also use that single gigabit connection. So you just have to be careful with extenders that you are not, going to blow away your gigabit connection. And two, most of the time, whenever you're going out from your house, you're usually looking at, I don't know, none of you guys have gig going to your home, do you?
No.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's sweet. I would love that, but I'm out in, bumpkin land, so that's not going to happen for me.
Hey.
But at least I'm hitting 100 meg.
Yeah.
So, anything going over my stuff internally, I should never drown that out. But if you actually do have a really, really high speed, I mean, gigabit or somewhere there close, that's where you really want to start watching those extenders because your internal network is probably going to be gigabit, and you could potentially X out your pipe from the wired access point in. So, but go ahead.
No, I was about to say, and shout out to Crypto Radio. They said if you're in a modern building, you probably have a smart energy meter as well.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, my house is 200 years old, and if anybody comes on the property, I try to shoot them who tries to put smart stuff in that I can't administrate. Just joking, but I'm not. But yes, so on the TP-Link side, so we know what the extenders do now, but their firmware, IBM for a researcher, blah blah, I can't pronounce his name, found that the firmware flaw was one that would let an attacker execute code remotely without having to log into a wireless device. Vulnerability is an extender, a piece of gear used to blah blah blah. Yeah, I mean, normally we don't find TP links in a commercial environment. This is primarily home use. So hopefully, like, don't use TP-Link at work. I mean, just don't. Like, use something that is a good quality product. I mean, like, shoot. I can guarantee I got a... Yeah. Like, here. You got these little things. Like, for little stuff, a lot of home users will buy these. They're like 35, 40 bucks maybe, somewhere in there. But two, they'll only extend out like one SSID. If you have like multiple SSIDs, they can't handle multiples. But yeah, do not use that in a corporate environment.
No, do use it so you can make my job easier. Please do. I want to look like a rock star.
Yeah, authored by Russian backed hacker. But yeah, so there's vulnerability, TP-Link side. Next up, we'll hit whiskey number 5 is my radio call. Cool, man. Netflix discloses vulnerabilities in SAC Linux and FreeBSD. Charles.
Oh my God! It's been a rough.
Informer.
Well, I'm gonna inform ya, and why I'm singing that tune that comes from GoBots for all you '80s heads out there. That's the knockoff Transformers. Yeah.
Wait, whoa, wait. GoBots did they have a TV show?
Yeah, they had a TV show.
I had no clue. Like, I still have GoBots. I'd never had a clue they had a TV show though.
Leader one was the fake Optimus Prime. So yeah, that's
nuts.
scary. That's scary. I still remember that and the theme song. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is scary.
Yeah. So
maybe I should go. Maybe I should cut all my hair off. Then I'll remember stuff like Charles.
You know what? Maybe that's why I get so excited in the mornings, because the airflow is just a little bit cleaner to my head. That's what it is. That's the secret. He figured out BSD Bandit's secret on air.
I did.
That's what it is.
I mean, it's like literally the not the airflow, the crap. What is it?
I don't know.
Like the jets, the airflow going over them is perfectly sound.
Aerodynamic.
Yes. Charles's head is just so aerodynamic. It puts him just into this other like place,
weird space,
automatically. Yeah,
out of space. I'm a bandit, so yeah. that does help me.
Yes.
But back to what was discovered in Netflix, which happens to run Linux and some BSD. So the issue here is this. Okay, so there's SAC. It's called SAC. So years ago, which is called like selective acknowledgement in Linux. Now, mind you, this SAC was introduced like damn near 20 years ago. It was designed to help with TCP performance when retransmitting packets. So, meanwhile, what you could do, like as an attacker, you can actually cause a denial of service attack remotely against if it's a Linux box or a FreeBSD box. So, if you have a kernel that's lower than 4.15, then you should patch like right away.
And the patches are out.
Yes, they're already out, so you can go ahead and patch right away. So all my FreeBSD users right now, if you're running FreeBSD 12, please patch right away. Please patch right away, because we can't afford to be down. So FreeBSD 12 users, and FreeBSD is called RAC instead of SAC. So RAC TCP stack that have that installation, you can either disable the RAC TCP stack or just go ahead and just patch. I would recommend just patching, because disabling things to me It's just kind of like a hack job, and it's just like a workaround. If you have a patch that's already available out for anything, and this just goes for future reference with any vulnerabilities, if you have a patch that's already available, just go ahead and patch. I mean, yeah, it takes a few minutes.
Now
But yeah.
I already know the answer, but Mr. Bandit, I have to ask: did this
Yeah.
affect OpenBSD?
No, it did not. It only affects FreeBSD. And by the way, SecBSD runs off of OpenBSD, not FreeBSD. Dun dun. No, matter of fact, my Strider evil voice.
I like it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyone out there running FreeBSD or Linux, please patch right away, especially in Linux if you're running kernel version anything lower than 4.15.
Yes. Shifty says, bald and bearded is the way to go.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think you may be the only bald and bearded on the cast, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Jack, you're not bearded, are you?
He's not bald either.
Oh, well, yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, he's working on it.
Is it the guy?
And
on
I'm
London?
not bald, so
Yeah, I didn't figure you were.
That's all right. Time will catch you guys up to me.
not me. It
Well, I
won't.
mean, why do you think I said not yet? I am.
Okay, Aaron threw on here. What do you all think about lockpicking and physical security homesec?
Well, as
So-
long as your door is shit, see, having a really good lock ain't gonna make much difference if someone can kick it down because the frame's shit.
Yeah,
Door
Well-
armor.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
lock picking at homesec's how I got my start.
like professionally, and this is more question for Aaron, like professionally or you as a person, and your own home. Because yes, somebody could kick the door down. You could have the
Mhm.
most secure door in the world, and then they go through the wall, or a window, or any other means. So, if you've covered all those other bases, like one of the guys I know was in Uganda for multiple years, and his home while he was there, barred windows. They actually had like metal studs in the walls with a concrete overlay. And at that point, you're really looking at like the doors. And then once you got into the home, not only was the front door locked, and bolt locked, and then there was an additional lock past that. Then you got into the family areas, and they secured it past that. So it just depends on where you're at, who's around, how deep you want to go with defending your home. Because for them to finally lock up for the night, they even so they had the bars on the windows, and then even had a second set of metal bars past that they locked on every single window every night, and then they had like 3 levels of door locks past that internally. So if you want to go down, I would not recommend ever picking your own home, your door's lock, just due to the potential of you damaging the lock. If you have a front door and back door, you can key them the same, but get another 1 or 2 locks that are exactly the same, and then practice on those internally that are also keyed the same, and just kind of go down that road.
And you throw a couple spool pins. You can order stuff online, whatever model you lock you got. You throw a couple spool pins or serrated pins in there, and you defeat most people other than someone's really good at lock picking.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, a sledgehammer, a chainsaw is going to get past most. I mean, locks are there to keep honest people honest. If somebody really wants to get in, there's still going to be some way to get in. So making sure, and I don't know where you come on the gun side. Most of us on here are kind of pro gun. So if that lock does defeat them or does not defeat them, make sure you have something available as you go through the house, because I'm not going to carry a gun on me 24/7, but I also have weapons in various places throughout the house that I can grab within, 2 steps and be able to take somebody out if need be.
So, in other words, people, make sure you have your choppers available if the lock don't do it. Put your choppers to work.
Crypto Radio, I don't know if I believe you're 70 years old. You may be. But if your hair and beard all fell out, I'm sure you're still a beautiful man.
Yep.
Nothing but tats left.
There you go. Hey, and just remember, if you are bald, shampoo and conditioner feel so much better.
What?
I said if you are bald, shampoo and conditioner when you're washing your head feels so much better.
Do you still use shampoo and conditioner?
Yeah, I sure do on my scalp. I sure do.
What?
Why?
Why?
Because it's for your skin. It's for your skin.
Wouldn't lotion work in it?
Yeah, what would you use, like a moisturizer? Yeah, or
Listen,
lotion or something?
I still wash my scalp because your scalp can flake up. You just never know. I'm just so used to washing my hair, head, or whatever you want to call it.
It's a lack of hair head.
So
Yes.
do you shine it up with wax too?
Well, I do have shea butter that I do put on my head that keeps the vitamin E oil and everything intact on my skin.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys are getting the lesson in tonight. So after I shampoo and condition my scalp, dry my head off, I actually do put some shea butter cream all over my head and just make sure it's rubbed in pretty good because it gives you all the vitamin E and oils that you need to protect you from the sun.
Holy crap. I mean, right now I'm thinking you should just stop doing InfoSec, go over to Instagram and become a beautiful bald man
No, I'm not going to. I would never. Listen, that's just, I am not an Instagram model out here, okay?
Oh, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of them. I think you could do it.
No, I can't do that. No. Listen, hacking and tech is just in my blood. I love it too much to let it go. It's not a job, it's a lifestyle, damn it. And I will not refrain from it ever.
There's a lot of beauty and makeup YouTube channels out there, man. So you can do something on like I don't know, scalp care and lotion.
Dude, you have a lot of hair too, so you could join me.
That's true.
So yeah,
you could live stream that while you are hacking stuff.
Oh, rubbing in oil, vitamin. I have my wife run the.
See now you're getting creative. That's see.
Oh, so hacking while my head's being rubbed with vitamin E oils.
Dude, I would honestly.
And then every time I get root, I get a kiss. Oh my god,
that sounds like heaven right there. I mean,
oh my god, I need to start
consider something like that.
Yeah, I need to start breaking in boxes today.
Ooh, man, that sounds nice.
And then start teaching classes for $19.95, folks. Won't you come on down?
Man, can you imagine that? Like literally sitting there hacking while you are getting a head massage.
That's beautiful.
We're being clean.
Yes.
Bald head massage. I know you're not. That's why I went there.
Dude, that'd be awesome. You know how many things would be broken into? You know how many bugs would be found?
That would be amazing.
Could you imagine the blue teamers wouldn't have a chance? You know how many bugs would be found if that could happen? Woo!
Oh, that would, yeah. Oh.
Jack, you know what I'm thinking, don't you?
Be popping stuff
that's why I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Israel, we're on to something here.
Yes, just as long as we keep Jack and his filthy mind out of it. Yes.
Just Jack? I'm like...
No, Darren's coming up the rear with that one, too.
Yeah, I am, aren't I?
We're going to have to Darren, too.
You missed the obvious double entendre you gave there, too, so I'm going to ignore that one.
Yes.
The samurai says, bald men, when you wash your face, how far do you wash up? I wash everything.
Well, no, I think he's asking, do you just wash up to like the forehead then?
No,
and
I
not-
wash everything.
Okay.
If there's skin, let me stop. If there's skin, I'm washing it.
But
that
you
makes
still
sense.
shampoo and conditioner. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Why
so
don't you just say head to toe and just save everybody's
Head-
grief?
Yeah.
yeah.
Head to toe. Yes, I wash from head to toe.
So I got, the next thing here, is it an all-in-one shampoo and conditioner, or are they separate?
No, separate.
Wow.
Separate. Yeah.
Man, if I was bald, I'd be like, screw it. Get me the
No.
soap and I'm done.
No, I'm not gonna do that. The soap's too rough. You gotta have that moisturizer. Sorry.
I
You gotta have
see.
all
So is that why you use body wash?
Sir.
I'm not even being facetious
No,
about
I mean
it.
body wash. Body wash is a great thing. I love body wash.
Yeah. Yeah, so do I.
So let's get back to some breaches here. We
Yeah.
talk about body wash and bald heads and moisturizer.
Oh, we've been knowing breaches for a long time.
Yeah, we need to get into this Firefox Zero Day because it's used in the wild, just like my shampoo. Let's rock with it, y'all.
Okay, yes. So there has been a Firefox Zero Day. Again, this has been patched. So if you utilize Firefox, make sure you are current. Make sure your corporation is current. It's CVE 2019-11707. Been released with the fixed with the release of 6703 and ESR 67.1. Firefox is automatically updated by default, so hopefully you do have that fix, unless you've changed or disabled automatic updating. And as usual, the vulnerability can occur when manipulating JavaScript objects due to issues in array.pop. This can allow for an exploitable crash. That sounds fun. An exploitable crash. I just like how that rolls off the tongue. But it has been abused in the wild. So, yeah, just make sure. And this isn't so much home users, because home users, as well as techs, at home will normally leave their stuff to auto update. But if you do provision and test updates prior to full production releases with Firefox or Chrome, whatnot, make sure that this is applied ASAP. Next up, critical Firefox Zero, critical actively exploited WebLogic bug patched. Darren, did you throw this on here?
Yeah, I did. So I saw this earlier.
I was like, I
left.
don't remember putting this on here.
Yeah, this actually just it had a CVE score. It's actually a 9.8 on the CVE score. It's remote exploitable. No authentication.
Can we start calling that the Richter scale?
Yeah, I mean pretty much.
I would I'd prefer that.
Well, okay, it's remote exploitation, no authentication, arbitrary code exploitation. It's pretty much the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah, that's like oh shit, you're screwed.
Yeah, so it's a 9.8. It's actively exploited. So if you're running WebLogic anywhere, patch this shit now. It's been a patched out of band, so that should tell you something. Because Oracle does not really patch shit out of band. So get it up now. It affects multiple versions, all the way from 10.3 up to 12.2. And they're going to release a patch for a subversion tomorrow, it looks like.
Nice. Very cool. Crypto, if you are still on, Hoglard is awesome, especially whenever it is infused with bacon. Firefox Zero Day, I'm uploading now Firefox as I watch this. I have to reboot to continue my update audios. Okay, cool. Hopefully you come back. We'll probably be on for another at least 45 minutes or so. Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very high priority on the WebLogic. Make sure everybody's going out. I mean, just patch your crap. And then I threw up here the US Cert Weekly Bulletin. So check it out. We're not going fully through it, but yeah, it's there. If you're a sysadmin, network admin, and security admin, engineer, not architect, any of those but architect, make sure you're watching the weekly bulletins from US Cert. If it applies to your environment, and if you've fully automated the process, even better. I've known companies who have test update areas where they've emulated their production environment and they test releases within there and then move it to production once it's been validated. If you've gone to that point, awesome. If not, make sure that you are testing and then releasing to prod.
That's usually called staging.
Yeah.
Or we tested it for 3 days and it was fine, and then the moment that you decide to go live with all patches, that's when shit breaks.
Yeah, and that's one of the fun parts too, because unless you have automated the testing process, a lot of it involves users up until you have fully automated it. And such and such was on vacation for last week, and we just released prod. It broke stuff, and test user came back to a non-functioning environment. Yeah, there's just a lot of factors with it. If you can automate, definitely try to automate, because the human element will always be there. Okay. Guys, got anything else for vulnerable stuff?
Only my
talk about the post that you posted on the Oracle WebLogic flaw, the emergency patch update to patch actively exploited WebLogic flaw.
What's
Darren
up?
just talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Come on, Charles, keep the fuck up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what? Slap down.
Did you guys hear about the Linux denial of service attack that dropped recently?
Yes, we talked about that.
Oh, I'm just late. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's that flaw is coming around. I just did it just now with the WebLogic, and now you with the vulnerability.
The flaw is coming around.
It is.
We should.
I love it.
Well, we should throw that in the words of items.
And in the words of Darren, keep the fuck up, guys. I love it. I love it. This is why we do it live, y'all. No rehearsing here.
That's right.
Live.
So, I wasn't planning on going into the other stuff at all, or outside of just general thoughts. If you guys want to talk about them, awesome. Let me know.
I want to talk about the Troy Hunt.
Okay. So yeah, let's hit the first one, then we'll hit Troy Hunt.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So first up, decryption for the latest version of Grand Crab, or Gran Crab, available, and others. So, crap. Who was this? I actually forget who backs. So the site is No More Ransomware, and I think it is Bitdefender who's the back-end group for this site. But so Grand Crab version 5.2, I think it was, dropped about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And Grand Crab, or the authors behind it, have said that they're retiring. So we may not see any more versions of Grand Crab as we've known it come out, but there is a decryption technique for the newest version of Grand Crab. But the reason I threw the site on here too is not just Grand Crab, but they probably have 100 plus other ransomware families that they have figured out decryption techniques for. And so if you submit a sample, you can get back a yes or no, can we decrypt it? And then you can actually get that decryption key and be able to decrypt everything. As long as they can do it. Yeah. So it's really cool. Grand Crab's big, been in the news for freaking ever. And two, because a lot of the ransomware out there is like a one-time shot. But Grand Crab, I think they had like version 1, version 2, version 2.5 or 6 or something. Then they jumped to like 5, then 5.2. So the authors really kept trying to commoditize this ransomware, even though everybody was trying to decrypt it and come up with techniques to decrypt it. So they were making money. They've said that they've retired. We'll see. But yeah, this one's it's a pretty sweet little site. If there is a way to decrypt it, they probably have it. And then, what Charles really wants to talk about, Troy Hunt is looking to sell off Have I Been Pwned?
Woohoo! Well, and again, this is just something just based off of my opinion. I've been following Troy Hunt for a very long time. I actually started following a lot of his blog posts when I wanted to learn about hacking web applications. And I mean, he was doing some amazing stuff. And then when Have I Been Pwned came out, then it really like took off. And I really think, based on like his different tweets and stuff that he talks about, I think he's just really exhausted with everything. That's not in a bad way, but you know, sometimes when a project starts in the beginning, it's humble beginnings, like that's your baby, and you're seeing it grow up, and it's expanding, but it
turns
expand.
into a really annoying teenager.
Yeah,
like hits that 13, 14 range or 12 to 14 range. Yeah, I get it.
And then it just screams beyond your control. And then now it's just like, okay, this is a very high demand, but then it's also putting a strain on my health and anything else that I have going on in my personal life. And I think even though he says it's time for Have I Been Pwned to grow up, and I get it, you're trying to take it to the next level, but at the same time, I think it was probably taking a toll on his personal life too. And he decided just to kind of, hey, pass the baton.
But do you really think it is? Like, do you really think that he personally is spending a lot of time on that?
He said it was a one-man show. Based on how he was describing it, was a one-man show for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. But now do you think it is? Like...
No,
I think he primarily still is. Primarily, it's sounding like it's still mostly him that's running and managing what goes into it and any of the features. He's got people that are helping him out, but it's not like they're base system architects or any sort of feature management or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because like my thought, well, just for anybody who doesn't know, Have I Been Pwned? That's all open source information.
Mm-hmm.
It's all information that's readily available, dark website, sometimes Pastebin, different areas. It's publicly consumable if you know how to find it. But it's just finding it. He's done a good job at finding it. But it would have come to a certain point, at least for me, that I would have hired somebody to find it that costs less than what I demand.
Yeah, but he might not have I'm not saying, I don't know how his funds are looking to hire someone, but maybe he didn't have the funding. I don't know. It could be. This thing can go so many different ways.
Like that. Yeah, that is something. Because honestly, I haven't read all the way through that article. Did he put an actual price on it?
No,
or is he accepting offers?
I think he's just accepting offers.
Because
I didn't see any type of price.
I'm still wondering how much he makes. Excuse me. Monthly, just by the general public going to Have I Been Pwned? I mean, because it's not like one of those hacker or security exclusive sites.
Right.
I mean, it's been featured on news and everywhere else,
Mhm.
and I
He
mean,
probably makes a good amount, but
Yeah.
again, we like looking at it from the outside. And okay, so perfect example. When I talk about like with SecBSD, right? Even though it's not making any money, and it's several of us actually working on the project.
Yeah.
It is very time consuming, and then it can be very taxing at times. And on top of that, and mind you, we're just in the beginning stage. We haven't even released the ISO yet. So when that gets released, it's going to be even more taxing because now, like I said, we're just an open source community driven project. So we're going to have mailing lists to deal with. People are going to be screaming about features and everything else. And, it's just going to become more demanding for all of us. And it's only 7 of us doing this.
Yeah.
So imagine, I can only imagine. So I kind of feel for him a little bit. And I kind of feel like he's just tired.
Yeah.
And I just think that he just wants to, even though he wants to keep the project going, but he wants to move it on to a higher plateau. And then maybe, like you said, they might have gotten funding, might get funding based on who purchased it or whatever, and then just continue on with it. But I think he just wants to just be out and just get back to, I guess handling stuff within his personal life, because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Because somebody it just came out of the blue, and just like watching his post for a long periods of time, it just seems like that's where it's stemming from.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it, but two, I don't get it because I hit up a couple websites, site values and how much is this site worth. Some are saying that it could pull, approximately 40K per month. Even if you paid somebody 10K per month or 5K per month,
that's still good profit.
And all they're doing is taking care of the site, and you essentially go hands off. You're the silent partner,
Right.
and you bring them in. And I mean, 5K per month, and say you spend 20 hours a week on it. That's not bad.
That's great.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can see both sides. I'm more on the, hey, let's, you have a good resource, and
make it lucrative.
you can make it more. I'm sure it's already lucrative, but make it more lucrative. But move some of the pressures that whatever you don't like about it, like move that onto somebody else who's willing to accept the pay to do it. But that's me.
No, I agree with that. With that portion, I mean, no side is wrong. I mean, I think it could be that too. It could be anything. But when I saw this, what's that?
Was that price that value amount per month? Was that to sell the site?
Yeah, that was like 40K per month. Site value from a couple places I hit is saying like over 2 million.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, fuck it, I'd sell, but I mean, not all money's good money. I mean,
right.
Just because you're generating income and you have to, and he probably feels like he has to have his fingers in everything, and
and he's just tired.
Well, and yeah, I mean that is a very good point too, because that makes me wonder, because I don't know his background. I don't know if he's been in management, like company ownership, or like if he just delved into this and it was kind of like a shit storm. Oh crap, I gotta get all this stuff up and running because there's now demand. But if you've been in management at all, there is that. If you came from a technical side, a technical position and moved into management, you know there's that transition. And it's not easy for anyone that I know. You know, actually being able to hand over the reins and, you know, still be technical here and there, but allow somebody else to do all the things that were kind of your baby, you know?
Come on, Israel. Even nowadays, even if you was in management, you would still look at it like there is nobody more technical than I am.
That
Or
all depends on the person. But
no,
yes,
no,
I do know a lot of people like that. Yes. I mean, because ultimately, that new person coming in who's now doing it is still going to come to you, at least for a time span. It eventually will like fade down to where they only come to you for like big things that they just don't have a clue about. And then you step back in and assist them. But everybody goes through that. And once you become a manager, um, you know, that's a certain mindset you have to take, that you have to eventually release those reins. Because if you don't, you're going to suck from a management perspective, because you're going to want to get into the tech all the time, and then you're going to screw up your management side, and then you have poor performance reviews and blah, 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 you know, on the management side, even though the tech was great because you were still helping out, but the management's going to be flawed. But that's
Definitely
my
a
thought on
catch-22.
that. What, Cap?
Definitely a catch-22.
Yes.
Is what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Well, if you don't release it, it's a catch-22. Yes. If you actually start, well, first off, if you hire the right person or you've brought up the right person, you know, it's not a catch-22, and you're able to release, and your employee is able to do those items, you know, that you used to do, and you also have to feel confident in it, which is a trust between you and the employee. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a catch-22, but there's certain circumstances where it definitely could be.
Yeah, agreed.
Dark Owl said that they have a 14-hour audiobook of cat noises for only $19.99. Hit me, or $9.99. Hit me up. It's actually discounted. I think the original price was $19.99.
yeah. So who's got the pussy that's in heat?
Hear it in the background. It's not me.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, what do we have up next? Oh, yeah. So AMCA. Actually, there's too many letters. I don't remember what it stood for. American Medical Collection Agency, who we talked about a few weeks ago, who got breached, is now filing for bankruptcy.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and that was the company.
Screaming no moss because all their fucking assets are about to be labeled zero.
Exactly. Yeah, so some of their clients included Quest Diagnostics, LabCorp, BioReference Laboratories, CareCentrix, and Sunrise Labs. But the overall breach, where was that? It was in the millions of people whose data was compromised. And I'm not seeing the exact number here, but yeah, I know the amount of data that was compromised was in the millions, and it included all the pie you could ever want to eat. So, including social security numbers, all that fun stuff. But they are declaring bankruptcy.
Probably because of all the HIPAA charges and everything that they had to pay, and then all their assets.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't paid yet, but they're gonna have to. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Once you're
Unless
bankrupt and there's
bankruptcy
no
is
money left.
Well, Well, I mean, you could declare bankruptcy protection, but I mean, as long as that potential fine is not on that not in that bankruptcy
Agreement.
yeah, they're fucked.
Who are they going to go after?
They can still go after the company because that's all because
That I mean,
because
that's fine that
remember
they go after the company. What if the company has nothing? Who are they going to go after?
because remember that with corporations and that used to where you could just walk away from all your debt by declaring bankruptcy, that's over. Now it's just managed. It is a managed bankruptcy with a judge, where basically you have to pay each one of your creditors X amount per month, and
Who
both
who
sides.
who's going to pay that if the company has been dissolved and there's no slush money left?
Wouldn't that then defer to owners, board members, and
No,
sort of?
no. That's where their
Okay.
assets are liquidated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so the assets have been liquidated. Those funds have already been paid out. Who's going to pay?
Then that's it. That's it. That company can no longer do
Well,
business. It's done.
Assuming the owners haven't done anything stupid that enables a lawyer or a judge to pierce the corporate veil, then yeah, that's pretty much all they can do.
So, I mean, if you are involved in any, hey, Dark, I know you got tons of bargains here. If you are involved at all in any type of litigation, always make sure you are attempting to be one of the first litigators, one of the very first in the door, because there is a specific amount of money, and once that's out, it's done. If a company's going full belly up.
But then on the other hand, if you owe that company money, all the time to negotiate is on your side.
Yeah, that's a funny part, because if you do owe the company money, they will still come after you, even after they've been dissolved. It
Right,
is such bullshit.
you can still settle it out for pennies on the dollar. Not
Yeah,
that
but you
not,
still have
not
to
that I've
pay
never
something.
not that I've never advised anyone to do that. Yes, I have.
I mean, but it really is crap that you can pay an entity that no longer legally exists.
Yes, because all those assets, they get packaged up and they are a part of the tranches that the creditors get a piece of. So
Yeah.
it's not that you're paying the company you're not paying the company, you're paying the people that company owed.
Yeah.
And the
Always
government's
fun.
going and the government's going to get theirs first.
Heck yeah, they will. Okay. Cappy, you may like this one. You still there? Because you're
Oh
muted.
boy!
Yo, yeah. New MongoDB field, field level encryption can help prevent data breaches. So, did you happen to see anything about this one?
I have actually been on working
The road.
vacation, something. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't
Wait,
had
a
a lot of time
working
to look at.
vacation?
Mhm.
None of us have experience with that.
Yeah. So
But
whatever.
so MongoDB, they're actually saying that their current release is going to help protect, their database structure. And what they're planning on doing, or are apparently now doing, let's see if I can find in this actual article, but they are encrypting the individual, got to remember database structure because I haven't dealt with it in 15 years.
Well, you said field, so that would be something like each. So say you select things from a users table. Each one of those
Yes.
one of those fields is a field is say your username. A record is a collection of fields. So like your username, password, any sort of tokens or stuff like that. that would be going under a record, but each one of those data points, such as a username, is a specific field. So what you're saying is
I don't know if they're going that deep. I hope so. The other article I read went and said that they were encrypting each individual table. So I don't know if they're going deeper than that, though. But yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of that because I totally blanked on it. But
yeah, it's all good.
How do they do the unlocking? Is it at the application level? Does the database unlock it? Where are the keys held?
I would think it would be, yeah.
Yeah, it's still database level, but what they're trying to bypass or move away from is if somebody has administrative access, just being able to get all the data out of the database, essentially unencrypted. And so they're...
Oh, sorry. What?
Go ahead.
Oh, so this is kind of like, it's not like really the safest encryption. It's just like an annoyance for hackers?
If you find the private key, yes.
Okay.
And I mean, because private keys, it's still going to have to be stored in memory. It's still going to have to be somewhere on the server, you know, because that database is still going to have to be able to access it. But yes, it is more of an annoyance, but at least it's an extra step past their current environment.
I wonder if they're going to have options for you to use the private key, like from the application, and then it only gets like loaded when the first query is made, or if it's actually stored on the disk of the database server,
or at least in memory. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll be in
memory. Most likely it's going to be in memory that's running in the database application, so that whenever it would be like if you do an SSH call,
yeah.
So every time you make a query, it then checks, hey, does that key negotiation? I haven't read the article, so I have no grounds on this is actually how it works.
We know.
But from what it sounds like, you would have like your normal key exchange where you say, hey, here's the private key. Hey, here's the public key. If they match, there you go. Or here's my public key doesn't match the private key. Sorry. And then it says, cool, here's all of the data that you just queried. But even then, that's going to be stored within a public system. That will be stored in a public system at some point, or in a system at some point. For it to be in memory, it has to have a physical point on the disk itself. So you could still grab it from a disk, I would think. It would just be, it's like you said, it's another layer or in another step for attackers to go through.
So you don't think it would be ever in memory only?
Well, then how would I'd have to look, but yeah.
Theoretically, I would, you could have like the application doing the...
Yeah, you could have the application, and you could do something like where the application generated it on a X time frame. And
yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
It would be stored, in memory. Yeah, it would be stored. It would fully be within memory and happen, once a day, once an hour, whatever's the determination.
I like that.
Yeah, they did say here, FLE, field level encryption, also helps companies comply with regulatory requirements like GDPR and the right to be forgotten in the European Union. Once keys associated with the customer are destroyed, data on the server and in all applications is rendered useless. I'm wondering, because I haven't seen that any other databasing applications are using this, but any of you know if they are? Like a SQL or NoSQL or whatever.
So do not quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure
I'm gonna quote you immediately on this.
Do not quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is already out in the wild.
Wait, I'm on Twitter right now. Caprico says out in the wild as a good thing or being exploited. Because we know
good thing.
Like open databases are being exploited left and right, but for the most part, most databases I worked with in the past, and it's been a while, just the entire database was encrypted as opposed to individual tables and whatnot within the database.
Right. So what I was going to say was there's something like this. It's not gone to this far of a level as far as I'm aware. Now,
Okay.
now I could be completely wrong with this because there was a conversation that I had when I was having to look into if an application we were making at my last job could be HIPAA compliant or if it was worth making it HIPAA compliant for it was an optional thing. But one of those things is data integrity and not having any sort of clear text being moved across networks or anything like that, even at the database side. When I had this conversation with someone who had gotten HIPAA compliancy, they just said they encrypted the specific tables where personal identifiable information was. Everything else was just IDs. But I'm not sure if that was just the tables or if they had a separate database that had all of their personal information that then queried out to another one. I have no idea.
Yeah.
All it was told to me was just encrypt it. So as far as the level in terms of how deep into like getting into tables and fields and specific records being encrypted, I am unaware of that. So this is the first time that I'm hearing of something close to anything other than just encrypt the database file.
Yeah. I mean, because from a a web searching point of view, it would definitely make it more difficult because now you're not just only looking for administrative creds. Now you actually have to like physically hit the system, get private keys, unless they went to GitHub or somewhere and posted them, and then it got backed up to another Git, that was publicly accessible.
GitLab, yep.
But yeah, I definitely like where they're going with it. And honestly, I don't know if this is a norm for any other of the other large database programs out there. But
well, and here's the other thing
cool.
too. The other thing too is what's probably going to get data scientists and database administrators all up in arms is if it has a significant performance tax. So because of the encryption, like most of these,
I mean, we got Spectre Meltdown. I mean, like anybody's going to give a crap past that because they've been 40-50% somewhere in there, especially on database side or more.
Right. Right, but then you start getting into like NoSQL and stuff that's meant for these really quick, really high performance data retrieval and data aggregation and stuff like that. You then remove all that hypothetically, let's say like you remove all of that performance gain that you get from having a traditional like Oracle database or something like that, something that's traditionally slow, and you to be more secure, you then lose out on performance, which then means you make less money because people don't like how stuff moves as slow as it does, even though it was working faster before. But we're more secure though. Yeah. No.
I mean, I love how fast WhatsApp goes.
Yeah.
But that's great. Also where great. You don't only, we have technological advances. That's where you also go past just the, the programming side and actually go to, okay, so let's look at just for this specific database, we'll run it on SSD, we'll run it in a hybrid environment.
Right.
We'll use Amazon or whatever, you look at things outside of you go, okay, so it slowed down 20%. What can we do to speed it up 40%?
Yeah.
And you look past that and actually get it because we have all the technology out there now. I mean, used to, unless you were talking physical only. Back when we were talking physical only,
Or
I mean,
lots of RAM.
it was going to cost 30, 40 grand to massively increase the speed. Now we're talking next to nothing to massively. I mean, it's still cost, but very much less than it was before to increase speed.
It's massively decreased over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, if I need to throw 100 processors at something, technically that is possible. If I need to throw a terabyte of memory at something, that is possible. I mean, it will come at a cost, but it is possible. So, whereas, years ago, we couldn't do that. But we can do that today, and the price point, it's not that bad to just throw extra resources at it.
For a short period, yes.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I watched a talk last week where they had, they were cracking hashes, old school fun stuff. Cracking hashes, Hashcat. They had it set up within Amazon. And one thing I was a little disappointed in the talk, they did not go into like the GitHubs and the GitLabs where there are Gits out there where essentially you download it, it will automatically populate you, talk you through to Amazon, fully set up your Amazon environment. I mean, they'll do freaking everything. And you can be fully up and running in like 10 minutes. Having your own Amazon environment, utilizing Amazon's video cards and whatnot. They had 148 video cards running. Don't remember what the other specs were just because they had the 148 video cards going. Or no, it was 468. That's what it was. And yeah, like you and I, we're not going to do that because
that's what you think.
Well, maybe because I think it costs them about $2,500, $3,000. But over the span of 1 hour of utilizing these almost 500 video cards, they were able to brute force, I think, up to 15 characters on NTLM. But up to 15 characters.
Well, which NTLM? Like NTLM V1?
Yeah, V2.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like net NTLM V2.
Yeah, what we see in most environments.
Yeah. So crap you grab from, or that responder will grab, and then you crack to then, or pass,
or you shadow copy out, you dump it, or whatever. You get the SAM off the domain control. If you're already on the domain control and you're still dropping hashes, I'm sorry, you missed out. But yes, yeah, I think it was up to 15 characters, 1 hour, like 500 video cards. That's freaking crazy. 1 hour.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, technology is there but too, granted, it costs a couple $1,000. If you want to grab it, if you want to do it, technology is there. You can overcome some of these items. Okay, that's enough about the database stuff.
I'm wondering how you would make a business case for that. No, that's my goal. Business case for why I spent $3,000 on on graphics cards from Amazon.
Yeah, and that was big, But too, I had, like, at my former position, and I've been advised since, like, legally, I think Darren even said something about this, and maybe Liz, that certain courts do not like if you try to figure out the passwords from hashes of people within your organization. So I did it. Still don't care. But yeah, if you do try to figure out passwords and crack the hashes of your own organization, there are some states where there could be illegal precedents. And just make sure you check out what your certain state laws are in regard to cracking hashes for your own corporation.
Yeah, I heard a story from I don't know if it was ex or current FBI or Secret Service at the time that they thought it was prudent that the assistant administrator was arrested. After so let me back up. Here's what happened. In trying to do a password audit on his organization, the system administrator tried to do basic brute forcing and cross-referencing cross-referencing the hashes with online databases,
public dumps. Yeah.
And just to see who has weak or reused passwords. And then sent an email out to everyone's organization that says, "Hey, your password is weak. Please reset it. Make it stronger." And apparently some lady in the organization was absolutely livid, thinking he must have stolen her password, and then sued him. And from what the FBI or the Secret Service, I don't remember which one it was. There were multiple people at that event. But anyways, what the person said was the guy's sysadmin lost that case. Unfortunately, I don't really have more specifics as to where where this happened. But anyone who thinks that is sane or appropriate retaliation in the legal side of things is fucking insane.
Yeah, and that could be one of the places too where HR, you do in the employee manual type of thing, we will validate, something in regard to your password where you actually put a little bit more behind it too.
Nope, can't do that either.
So if you're a sysadmin or in organization and you really think it's prudent to do that kind of check, pass it by legal first.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. I mean, in an ideal world, you shouldn't have to, but we don't live in an ideal world.
Yeah.
Well, I would say legal and HR. Make sure that everyone's on board. Because that helps to deal with remediation as well of people who don't seem to be willing to take your advice.
Yeah, I mean, because any competent pen test group normally will dump hashes. I mean, how many times have you seen a pen test come in, as long as it was authorized, and they did not dump hashes?
When you don't get in.
Well, yeah.
Or you're actually getting onto something. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, so here's like the one thing. There's been
because a third party is going to do it consistently. Like an internal group not being able to do it is kind of bullshit, from an audit and validation perspective.
In my mind, this seems like something that is matched with like a password policy. Like you can kind of pre-audit your people in that kind of way.
Yeah.
So if you have images that require like at least 10 characters, which you should be doing now, like upper, lower, special characters, and all that stuff, that should be at least enough of a push to get people to start doing it. But people will always put in spring 2019 !
Exactly. And granted, I know there are ways that, like if we're talking Active Directory, that you can keep people from doing spring 2019. If you do it the Microsoft way, you're going down the DLL path. It's frustrating, but there are applications out there that, bind with Active Directory so that you can have like a keyword check and users can't make a password that is, one of the keywords, or you can also reg edit it out. Not reg edit.
You can use regular express. You can use regular expressions to find like common words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or I've seen this before. Yeah, I've seen this before. At least when I've signed up for like games and stuff like that, they'll actually put it there saying this is a known weak password or something like that.
Yeah. And so you
think
can
League
definitely
does that.
keep people from doing it, but still being able to do an audit. I don't want to say an attack if you're internal, but doing an audit of, just because, like, my list is, I think, 3 billion words of passwords that have been used, that have been compromised, publicly, exposed. And so they're somewhere. They're either clear web, dark web, somewhere, that 3 billion words. But also, whenever you're talking like AD side, adding 3 billion words in, like, I cannot imagine AD acting nice whenever it's validating against 3 billion words. I mean, it may,
Well,
but I've
even
never
when
tested it.
Yeah, it doesn't act nice when you accidentally password spray it like 5 times when you only are supposed to do it 4, and you lock out all of the service accounts and domain admin accounts either.
Well,
Not speaking from
but see,
experience on that.
too, that's, if you go into an engagement not knowing, that's why you test one account. So
yeah, exactly.
you blow that one account and find out what the lockout time is, and now you have that information, and you can use it against all the other accounts.
Right.
Kind of fun.
Since you were on the thing of DA kind of is fragile, so
yeah.
Or AD is fragile, not DA.
Yeah, AD is good. From a central controller perspective, that type of thought, AD is really good. You can do a lot of stuff with it. You can lock down a lot of stuff with it. You can find a lot of stuff with it. Make sure you are monitoring and watching your AD logs. And 2, just when it comes to log management, you need to be watching your endpoint logs, because 80+% of breaches start at the endpoint and move from there. So make sure you're watching all this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Not going to hint on it hard. Through the link in here. New Cuckoo Box sandbox release through the GitHub link. And we didn't mention it earlier. Anybody who has not been on here before and doesn't know, left side YouTube have Adrienne Crenshaw with his massive penguin to the left of him. Down below that is show notes. Click on show notes. You can see everything we're talking about right now. But there is a new Cuckoo Sandbox release. If you utilize it, awesome. You can play with the new build of it. And last
also
up,
remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Adrienne would like that. Last up, only 5.5% of exploits utilized in the wild. Wait.
Yeah, I put this on there. So only about 5.5 of known vulnerabilities are ever actually exploited in the wild, and most of them have a CVE score of 9 or 10. So you don't see a lot that are exploited. Periods. It's kind of a bit of a pointless statistic, but I think it's interesting because it shows the absolute. I mean, we talked before about people going after the low hanging fruit a lot. You patch up to catch all the automated scans and whatnot, and you're pretty much not going to get popped unless someone really wants to get in. And if they really want to get in, they're probably going to not use a known vulnerability, or they're going to use a combination of vulnerabilities, and they're going to get in. So,
or if you're me, you're going to walk in.
Well, yes, but that's a human element, not a technology one. That's a different thing entirely.
Right.
There is no CVE score for Cappy.
Wait,
it's 10, by the way, but
whatever you say, young grasshopper.
Cappy's a 5.4. Just to validate.
That's not my CVE score, though.
To make sure that this shows correctly on here, only 5.5 of 0-day exploits, right? are utilized in the wild?
No, it's all because according to this article done, they looked at 76,000 vulnerabilities discovered between 2009 and 2018, and only about 4,000 of them had actually been used, had been actually with evidence exploited in the wild.
So I mean, yeah. So that is a good thing to talk about because, okay,
Wouldn't
why
it
do
be
you think
more
that is?
because?
Why do you
Oh.
think that is?
Sorry, lost connection for a second.
Oh,
Uh,
go ahead, Cappy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more like Darren, you hit on it earlier. It's finding the lowest hanging fruit. If a new CVE drops that's a 9 or a 10, you're gonna go after that one. You're gonna be writing your exploits for that because you know that if I do this, I'm gonna either take down a system, I can do damage to the system, I can get into the system, I can do my own. Put in my own code and use that to use that system to be used in other attacks or even go deeper. Because if they've got something like that, they're gonna find more known vulnerabilities on the inside.
Right.
But whenever you say that though, you're still talking something dropping like within a small time frame.
Right.
I mean, according to this article, 5.5 of all exploits are used in the wild, which to me, I see that as they don't even have to get to the point of utilizing those 0 days, those newly dropped exploits, because the existing exploits, that contain that 5.5 are still open and accessible.
It depends. It depends on the one. If you actually scroll down, that's about a third of the way down or so. They break it down by CVE score, the top level CVE score. So anywhere from 0 to 10, and the one with the highest percentage exploited is a score of 9, which out of about 6,700 is about 18.4%.
Well,
Next
yeah,
highest,
but if I have a exploit with a score of 9 that worked 5 years ago that still works today,
yeah.
I'm going to use that 100% of the time.
Right, because if it's a score of 9, chances are good it requires little to no authentication, or it's remote, or it's basically a combination of several bad factors that makes it appealing.
Yeah.
But but though looking at the same chart though too, the one with the most number is CVE of score of 4, which has over 19,000 in it, and that only gets used 2.5% of all of them. So just because there's more doesn't mean that they're more likely to be used. So
right, and a lot of those fours are going to be needing to be in a chain of exploits. Like you need to go through like one thing to get to this, then you need to do another thing to get to this point to get onto the system, and then you're in a non-privileged.
Exactly.
It's not remote or requires authentication, or it's going to require you to do something else. Like you're going to have to be able to get pop a shell on the box, and then you can use it to gain elevated privileges. For example.
And two, if nobody has ever gone through like the CVE side and really like looked into it, like CVE, if you're scoring it goes from 0 to 10. If you're scoring a 10, that is the easiest way to do the most damage. And so and this is a really good article, especially I like this graph. It's really nice. 10 9, 10 is 16.8, 9 18.4, 8 5.9. I mean, holy crap, like I got 9s and 10s that are 3 times more than 8. Like I'm gonna hit those every day of the week.
So to elaborate a bit on what you just said, so CVE scores are composite scores. They're based upon things such as whether it requires remote access. If it requires remote access rather than local access, it ranks higher. If it requires no authentication, for example, it ranks higher.
Yeah.
If it's ease of use, it ranks higher. So it's a variety of things. So if it's a 10, it's easy to use, no remote access, no local access needed, so it's remote, no authentication needed. Basically,
essentially like script kiddies.
Yeah,
script kiddies can do it.
And own it.
Yeah.
And also like what you get out of it. So if you can execute code, if you can gain privilege access, those kinds of things also make it rank high too. So
Yeah, which makes sense of why it's exploited out in the wild.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones where you're like, okay, I've only got one shot of this.
Before the IDS catches me and I'm locked out, or
right, or the WAF or whatever, your firewall's like, hey, this guy's being funny. It doesn't surprise me that 9s and 10s are going to be out there. It does surprise me that there's about 6,000 of what was 4 to 5. What was that one?
Yeah, so 4 is 19,000 and 5 is 14.2 thousand.
Okay. What's the overall percentage compared to?
Yeah, 4 to 5 is only like 2.5, and 5 is 3.1.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are like specific. Like that's gonna be you're gonna be throwing those out at specific services at specific targets.
Who actually released this information? I mean, because to release this information, you have to consume the data. So is this like a FireEye or?
I'm looking. It was extracted from the NVD.
Kenna Security.
It was gathered by from SAN, SecureWorks, CTU, Alien Vault.
Okay, that's good. So they
Earth
actually
Labs.
use multiple sources. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they use ExploitDB exploitation frameworks to see like what actually had code out there for it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, because it's not an exploit DB, doesn't mean it doesn't have an exploit written for it. Someone may have written one, just not made it public. So, I mean, there are caveats here, of course, knowing the data and interpreting it. So,
like that is kind of a good point. Even if something is not on exploit DB, doesn't mean you can't write something custom.
Or just because it doesn't have a CD assigned to it doesn't mean it's not vulnerable too. So.
Oh,
yeah, it's true.
Man, Darren just went there.
I mean, it's true.
He's not wrong at all.
It's not likely. I mean, you gotta be careful because you can get some real tinfoil hat territory, but it is true.
I mean, that's not so far tinfoil hat. I mean, honestly, we have white hat-sided security researchers. And that's where a lot of our data comes from. It would be completely naive and, dumbassery to think that black hat side people aren't doing the exact same thing. As much as we do white hat side on the research side, black hat, because people want to make money. They're doing the exact same thing on their side.
We were just talking about ransomware and the money they make and how they're retiring. It's like, I mean,
yeah, I mean, stupid. I'm kind of so with Grand Crab, like actually retiring though. I don't think they will.
I honestly think they will because one, there's only some you only get a short amount of time with it, right?
With their current software, yes.
No, I'm saying the money, because at the end of the day, if they keep doing it and they keep getting addicted to the money and they start cutting corners, eventually they'll get caught and they'll eventually get extradited, and then they're asking for an extra hot dog tray, and the hot dogs that they're getting they're not liking.
A hot dog tray, I like that. They're not in the U.S.
They can get extradited.
Yeah, because if it starts, if you
so
if they piss off the State Department enough, they will get extradited
from everywhere.
It's like not Russia; they're basically screwed.
Or if they're not a country that doesn't honor extradition treatments, like Brazil.
But shit happens.
Oh yeah, I mean, they may get extradited, not legally too. Not likely in something like this, but.
Because most Americans live their entire life and never leave America. Like, somebody who does not want to get extradited could move to a country and work out of a country that does not have extradition and live out their life and be completely happy there.
Yep. Someone could also use like Russian bank accounts and store all their money just out in the clear in regular bank accounts, and they can't come after it. So lots of guys do that.
Well, yes and no.
I don't
I mean,
know. I recall a
you-
certain Russian president wanting to make a deal for Snowden, but you know we won't get into that.
yeah.
that's
I mean,
But
you
like criminals that are just doing like non-national security stuff, just like phishing and stealing cards and you know ransomware.
yeah, but I definitely would not hit on the bank account side just because there are way too many people, government side, with eyes on everything bank account side.
Interesting.
That's why you would move everything to something really more towards a crypto mining.
What was the
spot.
story? I was just thinking of the story of the guy like a few years ago. Maybe things have changed now, but many years ago there was that guy that was selling credit card numbers, stolen credit card numbers online. He made a shit ton of money.
Mhm. Yep.
Where was he located?
He
I
was
mean, 'cause
in
I've known
Russia.
a lot of people who did that.
So the particular one that I think that Tux is talking about is this one guy who is basically like a credit card kingpin almost.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who you're
and-
talking about. I can't remember his name. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he financed the esports team, and then that shit went to real quick.
No, this is a different dude. This was back in like this is way back. Way back in turn.
Were, like big.
Yeah, this is back with like within like 2012, 2013 or something like that.
When Cappy was like 7.
No.
Hey, I had to say it at least once.
Ago. Yeah, I was about double that, I think. There's about. But anyway, no, he actually got extradited because he went on vacation in like the Dominican Republic or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was like it was some islands in the Pacific. I don't think it was Dominican Republic. It was somewhere else.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, good.
It was within like an extradition zone.
Yup.
And he had all of his crap on a Microsoft Surface. Which I'm like, what?
What year did the Surface drop? 2013?
I thought it was 2012, right?
2012?
2012, probably, or something like that. I don't know the exact date. Darknet Diaries did an episode on it. So if you want to know more about that story, go listen to his stuff.
Yeah, dude, I tell you what, like, I forget what his name is, but yeah, Darknet Diaries guy, like, he does, he gets the voice right and all that weird stuff, you know, he gets sound effects in there, but he really does a good job on his stuff.
Yeah, and that's why people have been going to him.
Yeah.
It's like especially some of the first ones. That was the first ones. It's the same quality, like through and through, on like the amount of research that's been put into it. But not to diverge off of exploits being used in the wild, being at like a 5.5%. But yeah, like if they really wanted to do something, they'd be doing something like the botnets that I've been finding, where it's like, hey, everything goes to X wallet or something like that, and then that wallet gets deleted or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do it in like, I'm gonna go to a like brick and mortar bank in Guadalajara or some stupid thing like that, because that's going to get monitored. They're going to that has to go through all of these. It has to go through a wire transfer at some point, and that wire transfer would either come and go either via another like state entity or like the United States government or like anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially U.S. side, if you are a U.S. citizen, there are a lot of back channels that the U.S. government has access to that are not always publicly acknowledged.
I'm sure there are.
So
Yeah, but apparently, this guy, they never got the money refunded to all the small businesses he destroyed with his credit card.
really,
tomfoolery.
even on the
Yeah.
credit card side.
Yeah, this
I mean,
was
because the credit cards. Oh, small business.
So,
so
like,
the
some
guy
small
was
and paw
attacking
shops went under
restaurants.
before he
Yeah.
even.
Whenever he paid for something, not because the mom and pop shop had a credit card that
No, no,
he
no, no.
was able to get.
He
So
destroyed
this guy,
the businesses.
yeah, yeah. So this guy wasn't actually like paying for stuff at these businesses. What he was doing was he was looking for point of sale systems that had RDP open externally to the internet, and he would just go to one of those, RDP into it, drop his malware, grab, like, sniff all the credit card numbers, have it go back to his command and control server, and then he would just put up all of those numbers on credit card forums.
Yeah, and that's
I
where
mean,
he'd sell them.
and I get that. Like,
Okay.
but all the consumers though, whose credit card numbers were utilized, should have been,
those
nixed
charges.
from having to pay those charges. But yes,
yeah,
I,
they have liability. So
yeah, I definitely get from the business side. If you did, yeah, if you allow,
Ow.
sorry, they're still halfway going. But yeah, from the business side, yes, you have to secure your shit. If somebody's able to gain access in and swipe credit card numbers out of your system, yeah, you're going to be responsible for that. So, I mean, I feel sorry for the mom and pop places, but that is still a liability of yours.
yep.
Thank God for Square.
Square.
I hate them, but I mean, I've heard that people don't like them, but I mean, like, it's better than the alternative.
Hey, I can't use them.
Oh yeah?
Yep, I'm in a restricted business for them.
Huh.
It's
Interesting.
because you have hair, isn't it? Like on your head.
No.
Square no like guns.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, Square. No, really,
No
like
shit.
a Silicon Valley company doesn't like guns.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I get,
right?
yeah,
Thank you.
but
Thank you
still,
for the
really,
emphasis.
like,
Yeah, they'll terminate your
so,
account.
so much money that they are just leaving out there and saying "f you."
Yep.
Like, really?
Yep.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and they can afford to do it because you know what? What?
Because they're square.
Because people
uh,
will buy $7 fucking coffees every day of the week, but more than they will buy a gun.
Oh, that's aggravating. Hey, Will.
what?
Sorry about that.
What the heck, Will?
Yeah, if you're saying anything confidential, mute yourself. Yeah, that.
The United States government is putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs gay.
Oh, whatever. Chemtrails are more sustainable.
True. That actually was a thing.
Chemical apparently called tetrazine that applied to certain frog species can make them switch genders. I believe it's called tetrazine, but it's an accidental waste product, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and
so whenever you say
some
they
frogs
switch,
aren't biological.
so whenever you say they switch genders,
Right, I mean sex.
I mean, yeah, okay, same line. Do they grow new parts or lose new existing parts?
Eggs, and it can be fertile.
So some amphibian species actually are technically hermaphroditic. They can actually change their sex to meet demands of the environment.
Wait, so the
demands of a Saturday night.
Do they have? Do they already have both, or do they grow new parts?
They will grow. They will. Their body will actually change. They'll first start adopting behavior patterns of the opposite sex, and then they will eventually like full on change.
Holy crap!
Did you ever read Jurassic Park? That was the whole premise of why the dinosaurs like could breed, because they were using
until somebody pointed it out that it was a book like however many years ago. I had no clue it was even a book series.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point of the book was because the DNA that extracted from the insects in amber was incomplete, so they used frog DNA to build the chain out because frogs are probably the closest ancestors they have that we have around still.
No,
And
dude.
well,
I would think more
I'm
like
generalizing. I'm
I would
broadly
more like
generalizing.
alligator crocodile side.
Birds and crocodiles.
Yeah.
Right. But as an example, though, so they tried to do that, and the DNA strands they copied basically gave them that ability to become hermaphroditic because they were all female, so some became male, and hey, what do you know? Babies were made.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Real quick, Aaron, excellent question. OSCP versus CEH. So CEH is what you know. Certified ethical hacker. That is, you could study for 3, 4, however many weeks, take
Hours.
a test, and yeah, exactly, and forget it. OSCP is actually you doing it, you popping boxes. So 1,000 trillion %, whatever, 100% is the most I usually go from a statistics perspective. OSCP over CEH, because it takes you actually doing the skill as opposed to just
Knowing.
regurgitating information that you've learned for a short amount of time. You actually have to physically do it. You have to pop boxes. You have to write the reports. You have to do the work. So
It's-
yes,
Now-
100%
now,
OSCP.
Now the only way I would recommend a CEH is if you are on a limited budget and you work for the government, either in a contracting role or in a civil servant.
Or
You know,
if you're new, because the CEH is a lot simpler to do, and it's a little
Yes.
more recognized. I mean, it's a little more known, I would say, than the OSCP because it's like the CISSP. It's a known thing.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I don't dissuade people, or I don't know, that may work as a word, not sure, from getting their CEH, even though I'm not a cert person. If you are definitely new to the industry, new to security, you don't know a lot of people, haven't yet networked and got up to a certain position where you know a lot of people within the industry. Yeah, CH is a good entryway. A lot of employers will respect it and look at it. But it's just kind of that foot in the door to be able to get that interview.
Yeah.
But the OSCP then actually shows, more hard knowledge, understanding, as well as hands-on. So,
well, I mean,
if-
it's the difference between whether or not it just depends on what that manager whether or not that manager knows what it is. 'Cause, I mean, remember, there's a lot of certain managers, or a certain Carmen San Diego cosplayer that hasn't gotten it yet.
from that perspective, I will say, if I had my OSCP and I were to interview for somebody that I would be working for who does not know what it is, that's not somebody I want to be working for.
I'm sure
Ditto.
there's some government jobs that require a CEH.
Well, no,
Yeah.
the OSCP as far as DoD is concerned, it's not even recognized.
And
So
like that's on them. I don't do government stuff. I know you have, but I essentially refuse to do government work. So
Ditto again.
yeah, if they cannot recognize something that is a heightened skill, sorry.
Well, no, it's all about meeting the standard. So what you
a low standard.
it's not quite as low as you think it would be, but it would basically one, the OSCP would have to go under their continuing education. They would have to charge per year just to have their credential. And I mean,
But there's nothing CEH side versus OSCP that shows that CEH can compare to OSCP. from a knowledge perspective and a
I mean, you're
ability
not
to
you're
do
you're
it.
looking at it from a knowledge perspective. It's not. It's why CompTIA used to be, you were certified for life
Relevant.
to.
You have to pay every couple years now. Yeah, I'm still certified for life A plus.
Yeah, but if you get converted over to government, it's a wrap from there. They will make you retest because you are now out of that window to where I was forced to convert over.
But
Right.
on that same subject, though, CompTIA, another thing to look at as well, the CEH will be Security Plus because it's a simple, basic entry level cert that will get you in the door. And that's kind of true for any IT career. So the Network Plus, Security Plus, they have a Linux one, they have a Windows one, they have the A Plus for hardware. So
They actually have a full security path.
Linux one isn't that bad because if you take that Linux Plus, it gives you LPT 1.
For the LPIC, right? Which is a pretty good cert. It's not quite as good as Red Hat cert, like the RHCE or RHSA, but it's not bad.
But like I said, it gives you this taking that one Linux Plus and passing it gets you 3 certs.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, certs are not essential to be in security.
Yeah.
Certs get you in the door when you do not have a network. Past that,
or when you have to prove that, hey, you know what certain terms mean to pass a test.
Mm-hmm.
When you have
which
you don't
is
when
a
you're
type of cert that you're taking, right?
Right, and when you don't have the resume to back up that you ever
Exactly.
security background.
Exactly. So your entry level stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. So certs will definitely help entry level. Once you build out that network, people start to know your skill, your value. Certs essentially, honestly, become irrelevant at that point.
Yeah. If you've been doing this for like me, I've been doing it for over 10 years. Certs at this point are kind of pointless because if I don't know what the hell I'm doing by this point, you'll find out pretty fast. What I know, I should be able to recite pretty quickly.
Exactly. I mean, because I've been doing this not fully on the security side. I've been doing just IT, generalized IT stuff for 20 years now. And I have no certs.
Yep.
I mean, I have done training for certain things during certain points throughout my career. I did like the CCNA training, CCNP back in the day, like, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago, because I was a network admin. And so I need to get trained up really quick on specific things. But, what you've done, being able to validate that, other people being able to validate that, due to who they're able to talk to, that becomes like just massive within the security side.
Yep. How I got in.
Yeah. And I mean, Cappy, he's a long-haired hippie. I mean, he was even able to get in. So if he was Cappy, how many certs you got?
Let me think. 0.
Oh, yeah, even better. And he loves the Yankees, which is even more screwed up.
No, this is whatever. I would. This is a souvenir from when I was in New York for the first time. No, I mean, like he said, you want to have at least a net. You need to just start putting yourself into a spot where you can actually network and talk with people that are in industry.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do that. You can go to cons. You can go to monthly meetups. You can go to there's usually an OWASP chapter. There's a in around
ISSA.
ISSA,
ISSC squared. Go to the B sides.
B sides is always a good time.
If you are new in the industry, you know, and do
Especially
not
if
have
you
a
need to know
mentor,
locals.
yeah, and do not have a mentor, you know, definitely hit some of those things up. Try to find a mentor or a couple. If you have been in this industry for freaking ever, you are a infosec rock star, god, blah blah blah, and you are not mentoring anybody, shame on you. Like, find somebody who, or 2, 3, 4 people, spend 2 hours a week, mentor them. Like, it's not hard. It's a few hours a week. Like, go out and mentor them. But that is massive for you as a mentor, being able to understand things that your current age group, which I'm now part of, yeah, doesn't necessarily see on a day-to-day basis. If you are a mentee, you know, try to learn everything you can, and, you know, you will advise your mentor on things that they didn't know.
Mhm.
But too, it kind of comes to the point of, on both sides, coming out of that shell, being willing to do something for somebody else and accept information from somebody else.
A lot of it has to do with drive too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Because
was what my mentor told me as well. That's like one of the biggest things is like you have to be driven to actually push yourself into this. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're in a pretty thankless job.
Yeah, no shit.
most of the time, yeah. Yeah, if
So
you are
you
running
gotta
front line, you are definitely in a thankless job. I mean, your
Yeah.
company will thank you, but you will hear 1,000 "you sucks," you know, in between every thank you.
I'm not
You
here for
screwed
the thank
this
you.
up and that up and everything else up. And yeah, if you do not, you know, if you're kind of weak whenever it comes to people objecting to something you did, yeah, you should probably look at a different route, because people are going to object to everything you do on a consistent basis.
In
You're
terms of
you're only as
security.
good as your last fix.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're on defense, I mean, I did that for freaking years, and it is the spaghetti strainer. You have 50,000 holes to fill, and the attacker only needs to get through one of those holes. And your management's going to come looking at you whenever they get through one of those holes. So, yeah, it's definitely thankless.
So drive for sure, make a network. Certs are nice to show to the I wouldn't say uninitiated, to like your managers and stuff like that. Like if you're going to a job and having something like that, if you don't have someone to like vouch for you or something like that, but
There you go.
I'd say go for both, but go for a network first. Then get the
Yeah.
company to pay for your certs to show that you actually are good, so that they can market you to clients.
Networking helps a lot in some ways when you get to a certain point. Usually earlier on, it tends to help better. That's actually kind of how I got my 1st
Mhm.
job. Was my supervisor went to the same college as I did, so he knew that the college did not produce idiots. So he had a lot more faith in me at first. And when he asked me a few basic questions, he was like, "Okay, yeah, you're not a total fucking idiot. So you got the job."
I'm still up in the air on that, so we'll see.
Yeah. Do you remember what my words to you, Israel, before I signed off last week were?
Last week we
Yeah.
did not have a cast.
No,
Oh
but-
wait, no,
2
yeah, we
weeks.
had off air. What? Yeah, what'd
Yeah.
you say?
I said suck a dick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could always hope I would do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, I do have a very pretty face,
And you got to purr him
so I
out there,
get that.
boy.
I know.
Oh man, you do realize we're live, right?
Welcome to the X-rated portion of the Irongeek cast.
Portion. It's the whole damn show. What are you talking
Yes.
about?
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And demonetized.
Demonetized. Adrian.
Yes.
You threw a link up in YouTube that linked to Alex Jones' video. Did you want to discuss that?
Not really. I just wanted for that to know what we were talking about the whole. I think it was atrazine that has certain effects on causing certain species of frogs to switch genders.
Oh, that actually. Oh, okay, cool.
That's actually the videos by Sargon of Akkad on one of his old defunct channels, but I found a copy of it.
Yeah. So has well, you're East Coast, I think. Tux, I think you're East Coast
Yes,
too,
I am.
right?
I am East Coast.
Jack, you are Kentucky. Darren's down south. Cappy's wet. Have you guys? Adrian may have had the amount of rain I've had in the last couple weeks.
A whole lot. I got soaked earlier today when I was walking out to a spot I'm supposed to be tomorrow, just to reconnoiter where things are at, and yeah, it's been pretty bad.
I mean,
yeah, I've been
nuts.
up north, I've been up north this last week, so we've been missing out on a lot of the weather. But right when I left, there was a big thunderstorm to roll right through where I'm at now, and that's central United States.
I mean, it is just consistent. I mean, I'm in Ohio, like central, but it is stinking every day. We have had close to 1.5 to 2 inches of rain.
Well,
I'll have to send you guys a pic of the fields before the airport at MCI.
Yeah, we've had a ton of rain here. We actually had a couple bad storms. We had one Sunday that produced like 3 tornadoes in DFW.
Oh,
yeah,
there's more of them?
One actually hit like a mile away from me.
Do you go out like the regular white
Oh.
person and film it? And
No, I didn't even know it happened until afterwards because it was a mile away. I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So, funny story about the last time I was in Texas. It was the day that the day before, 3 tornadoes hit around, like literally like in a triangle around my house in Kansas. I then got on a plane to go on an engagement the following morning, got to DFW, got to site, and then a tornado drops right on my right next to me.
Yep.
I was like,
I'm telling you, like, don't come here.
I was in Columbus earlier in the year.
Yeah,
It
they
snowed.
follow you.
It snowed. It just snowed. Don't worry about it. Just snow.
It was like a snow-tato. Snow-nado. There we go.
Yeah.
Like Sharknado,
Snow-nado.
but Snow-nado.
Well, we actually had a water spout part of what happened over the weekend. I heard over.
Oh yeah, I remember
Water
hearing
spouts
about
are
that
freaking
too.
awesome.
It was minor. It lasted very brief. Didn't do any damage. So,
Yeah.
I was
Water
over Eagle
like,
Lake.
Any time that water spouts happen, like, I am all about that. That is cool.
Well, you're about to. Is it Sparta?
Jack, you were talking really softly. I'm sorry, Jack, what?
Say what?
I don't think that was for us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because now it's freaking pouring again. I mean, it's been like drizzling and like consistent rain all day. Boom. And now it's just pouring again every freaking day for last week.
Well, you now Ohio now has wet seasons. You can thank climate change for that.
There you go. I blame chemtrails. I'm right up there with Cappy. I think it's chemtrails.
Yeah, we're
I
still
never
in our
said
storm
that.
I think it's the lizard people who currently.
I never said anything about that they're changing because chemtrails.
But yeah, so about Texas, we actually have a storm season about this time of year, so it's gonna be rainy here probably till the end of June, and then it'll probably stop there.
I saw something with Indiana where this time last year the corn was like 6 foot high, and right now it's like, I don't know, 5-6 inches. just due to the saturation. Pretty nuts.
Yeah, we've had the Mississippi flood and the Missouri. No, it's just the Missouri River flood at least 4 times since I moved down here, and it is just nuts. The last time that I took an Uber up to the airport, I looked out the window and I'm like, oh, it's a lake. And then I saw farm equipment in the middle of it. I'm like, it's not a lake.
There's a nice big John Deere combine out there.
No, it was the sprinkler attachment or whatever. I'm like, that's gonna get ruined.
Yeah, I was driving up 65 today. So basically, Southern Indiana towards more central Southern Indiana. South Central Indiana represent. Anyway, there was like a soy or a cornfield off to my right, which would basically become a lake.
I have to drop off for about 2 minutes. Aaron said chemtrails. What about TARP option? So there's something to discuss. I don't know what TARP option is. So
I have no idea either. I don't have the show notes up.
Harp or Harp? I remember it was a product called Harp, which was great. I don't remember what Harp stood for.
Is it high altitude HAARP?
Maybe that was it. Yeah, I remember there
Yeah.
were conspiracy theories around it.
It is. Oh, I don't think that's it. High frequency active aural research program. I don't think that's.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It was basically just long distance radio.
Yeah, and it was theorizing with weather control. That's right.
So what were they doing?
They were basically using the ionosphere to bounce radio waves off to reach points of the planet.
Got it. So that's how the aliens are going to find us, right? It'll just bounce off into space. Like if you, because unless, I don't know. I'm not a physicist. Illustrious isn't on here, so. I'm gonna pull up. Don't know. Let's see if it. Hang on. So, Darren, how did you actually come across that exploits thing? Was it just like normal reading?
Which one? The last article?
Oh, yeah, the last article where it's like 5.5%.
That was actually an article on D Shield. I have their news open up, and it periodically refreshes the other day. And I saw that one last week. I think last Thursday or Friday. So, or maybe before that. I can't remember when I saw it last. But yeah, so I said, "Oh, put it on there too."
Okay, cool. It's a little weird to me that it's kind of a moot point, I guess, because it's kind of like a duh, but it's still a good point to bring up.
Well, something else I wanted to mention earlier about it's a good thing to bring to blue teamers, because if you have management screaming about those 6 and 7s and why aren't they patched? Well, it's kind of lower hanging fruit, or it's kind of higher hanging fruit than what is really need patched, which are your 8s, 9s, and 10s.
Oh yeah.
And that graph pretty much shows it right there.
Yeah, and that's a good resource for you to build like metrics off of for like management and whatever, so that your management can go to boards and whatever to be like, hey, we mitigate 90% of all of the like a couple thousand exploits that are being used out in the wild. We're doing a good job. For yada yada yada.
Hey, you can spin it as a positive.
Yeah. That's how I would spin it anyway. But I'm also a noob. I'm trying to get show notes up on my phone, and it's taking forever because there are a lot of pages.
Maybe I should break that out into some old show notes then.
Nah,
I think,
it's just on the phone.
I think that we covered all the ones for today, right?
Yes.
We have for like the last 30 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You,
been done for a while.
you know what's really
okay.
fun? To have 130-pound. I mean, granted, he's half Rottweiler, half Shepherd. But to have a 130-pound Rottweiler mix that is scared of thunder, and anytime thunder happens, he just wants to crawl up in your lap and be cuddled. 130 pounds.
My dogs
I mean,
are the same way. So
a normal day, he will tear you limb to limb. But if there's a thunderstorm, he wants to be cuddled.
he's skilled.
I want
He is. I mean, he does perfectly fine whenever I'm out shooting like anything. But if it's a thunderstorm, nope.
guys,
So
go ahead and stop the cast for, I guess, because I need to get some sleep for tomorrow, and I haven't gotten a whole lot of sleep recently. You notice I haven't said a whole lot. That's because I've been kind of nodding off. But
that's all good, man.
I'll
Good
leave
call.
I'll leave the hangout up for you guys to speak. But everybody, hopefully catch you next week.
There you go.
Later.
Later.
Laters. Glad I could
Later,
join,
everybody.
actually.